what's up, you little... This is tough coming up with all these every week. Little galoshes. My little yellow galoshes. What's up, my little yellow galoshes? We're going to talk about this today because this is a big topic. Because I consider myself a motivational speaker. I consider myself a motivational pump-up dude. I consider myself like your philosophical pre-workout. I'm like the caffeine of your day of the mind, you know? And I consider myself a pretty motivational person. But the question is, what are you going to do when the motivation runs out? What do you do when you stop feeling motivated? This is a big question because a lot of people always ask, you know, hey, I'm not motivated. I'm not motivated to work out. I'm not motivated to do this thing I have to do. I'm not motivated to write that song, because that's me. Because I use that as an excuse all the time for myself. But here's the thing. Discipline will always, every single time, beat out motivation. Discipline beats motivation. And on that same note, habits always beat willpower. We'll talk about that later. But discipline is a long-term solution. I made another video in the past, I'll put that link in the description, of why we need to stop being afraid of discipline and all the negative connotations around discipline. Discipline is an amazingly good thing. You need discipline. Let me explain it using an analogy. So you get this idea, right? You get this idea of something you want to do. You want to start that thing. You want to, let's say, you want to lose some weight. That's the spark, you know? That's that little flame that lights you up inside, right? You get that match, you want to turn that into a roaring cooking fire so you can cook some damn hot dogs on that. You want to have a barbecue, you know? So you start with that flame. That's inspiration. Inspiration is the match that starts anything, okay? You throw that match in there, it's gonna burn out right away. You can't just have inspiration. So you put some kindling, you put some paper, some newspaper, or some small dried tree leaves, right? And that burns hot and heavy, but it burns out really quick. That's motivation. It looks really flashy and exciting in the beginning, but it will burn out. And when the motivation burns out, the inspiration usually goes too. So what do? What are you gonna do? Well, just like with any good fire, you gotta put small twigs on it first. And then those twigs, you know, light up and those get cooking. And then you slowly start adding bigger twigs. And then you start adding branches. And then you start adding logs. Big old thick logs. Now what am I trying to say here? Motivation alone will not get you to what you want. You gotta have goals, man. You gotta have goals. But you can't just go in and throw big logs on a fire right away. It will not ignite. It will not take. You will not get to that burning, deep, intense heat that is almost unquenchable. You will not get there just by throwing big logs. No. You got to start with little branches. The wood are like your goals. You can't just jump into a huge goal right away once you get that motivation. You got to start with little goals. Start with something small. Lose 1 pound if that's what it takes. Add 1 salad to your day. 1 vegetable. Small goals. Because nothing is more addicting than winning or reaching a goal, no matter how small it is. And then once you get that cooking and you get more heat going, you add more branches and bigger branches. And then you can add that log. You can get to those big goals. And then by the time you get to those big logs, you're cooking, baby. You're hot and ready like a Little Caesar's pizza, boy. Should go. Discipline is you putting those logs on the fire. It's you making those little goals happen. That's how you overcome that initial motivation. Because guess what? You want to get to a point where you don't need no motivation. You don't need it. You just say, I'm doing this today. I'm doing this. And then you do that long enough term, and that becomes your habit. And then that habit establishes your culture. And it's very hard to change culture because then you can just live in it. So establish those little goals. Work toward that. Discipline will always beat out motivation.